All right, this is a quick run through of Google Forms, and we are now in my Google Drive. We're going to hit create. Take a look at all these things here. We are going to go down to form, and it's going to ask us for some themes here. You can see if we scroll down, we've got some themes we can choose from. We're going to go with default, and then we're going to name this form what we want to call it, and we're going to call this Test Form 1. Really generic, awful name, but it is a test. Here we go. Hit OK, and that'll bring us here. You can see there's that title. We can always change that by clicking the field. This is the work area. This is where we're going to work. We're going to quickly go through some of these features, menu items here along the top, talk about what we are seeing here on the screen, and then eventually move towards these other drop-down menus here along the very top. First of all, you can see that we've got our undo, redo buttons there. There is our theme button. So again, we can always change the theme even though we have initially selected it when we first started this project. And then we can say that by default, it is automatically accepting responses. However, if we select this, we can then say it's not accepting responses if we want to sort of freeze everything, make some changes, and then click it again. But by default, it will say accepting responses. If you do mess around with this button, please be sure to check to make sure that it is indeed, because if you end up sending it out or sending out the link and it is not accepting responses, you're going to have a lot of people who are not going to be able to do anything with your form because they're not going to be able to respond to it. This is an important button here. Now, like I said, by default, as soon as people start to send in responses to your form, it is going to, Google Forms is going to send all these responses to a spreadsheet in Google Spreadsheet. Now you can be more specific, and you can actually, if you want to, be proactive and name it what you want. But you can see here by default it will call it Test Form 1, which is what I named it, and then it's going to put in brackets responses. But if I want to, I can add it to an existing spreadsheet. I can name it something else if I want to, and then yeah, there it is. And I can hit create there if I want to, but again, it will do that automatically. And I can then also view the live form. And now again, because we don't really have anything in here, if we click on it, there's nothing really to view in there. Pretty plain. All right, let's go back. Now, all right, let's start making our first form. There's my title, Test Form 1, but again, I can select it, change it if I want. Over here is, at the very top, are some general settings for the form itself. Really just the one. It's the ability to have a progress bar at the bottom of the form page so participants or students can see just how far along they are in completing the form, especially if it's a multiple page, you've got different sections and all that kind of stuff. Here's the main part here. This is where we're going to start to add in our questions or our media or text. And you can see here by default, we have got the multiple choice question that pops up here. Now it's an untitled question, so what we can then do is add in a question. And this is an awful one. Do not write that question down. This is just as a test. An example. We're going to stick with the multiple choice. And we can then select these different options. Yes. No. I am not sure. Wow, do not do this. This is an awful form question. Now, this is a multiple choice. Again, I can change, and you can see here by selecting that box, there's multiple choice, but I have the option of adding in text. I can make this a paragraph text, a checkbox type question, choose from a list type question. I can add in a scale, grid, date, time, all that kind of stuff. So depending on the form and what you're going to use it for, these different types of options or question types might be better suited than others. But we're going to stick with multiple choice and take a look at some of the other things that we see here. So there's the question title or the question, do you understand? There are my multiple choice options. We've also got help text, and this is something that might help provide further instructions if students maybe might need more information about what the question is about, what they're supposed to do. You can add that in there. And the next thing you can do too is, if you select this thing here, go to page based on answer. This is an interesting feature because this creates almost like a customized experience in the form. Again, this is an option, but if you have students responding yes, if they respond yes or to respond to a certain or select a certain answer, they might go to a different part of the form. Likewise, if they select no or a certain answer, they would go to a different part of the form. You can see here that you can select that. Now, I only have the one page, but you can create different pages on your form, and you could then select, based on this answer, they're going to go to page 2. Based on this answer, they're going to go to page 3. Based on that answer, maybe they're done. They can just go ahead and submit the form. Again, as simple as selecting or unselecting that box. Other things towards the bottom of this question is advanced settings. You can shuffle the option order, meaning that every time this sort of form appears to a student, it's going to generate these answers but change the order of them so they all slightly look different. And the last one is this a required question, meaning that the student will not be allowed to sort of move forward until they've actually submitted a response or sort of indicated a response. And then once you're done there, just select done. And there's that question there. We can go ahead and add another item. Selecting that down arrow, you can see that we can, again, see the different types of question types. The text, paragraph, text, scale, grid, time. The other thing that you see here is the layout. I can add in a section header, I can add in a page break, and therefore create that second page. I can add in an image or a video and have that piece of media be the discussion piece or the thing that they look at, and then have them respond to questions that follow. Again, a lot of stuff that you can do here, depending again on the type or the need or the purpose of the form. So we're going to add in some like a text type of question. Indicate your level of understanding. And again, an awful question. Let's call it describe your level of understanding. Yeah, that's better. Don't do that. Awful question. Help text, again, if you need to add in any more information, and we can provide their answer there. Again, it's going to be a short answer. If we want to have them provide a longer answer, we can select paragraph text, and there it is, the longer answer space there. I can make that a required question, and then I'm happy with that, so I'm going to select done. And you can see now that I've got my two questions there. The first one, the multiple choice, and the other one here was the paragraph text question. You can see here when I hover my mouse over the top of this question, I've got that multi-directional arrow. That allows me to then select it and then drag it so that I can change the order of this particular question. I can bring it to the top, or I can move it to a different part of the form. Really nice. After that, let's say I'm completely done and I'm ready to sort of move forward from this form. I can then start looking at the confirmation page. And this is the page that shows up once the student has submitted the form. It's the sort of landing page that they see next. And you can see here there's a number of options. I can customize the actual message itself that they see here. Great work, blah, 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 further instructions, whatever I want to put in. There's the ability to show in links, publish, show a public link to form results. There's all the stuff that you can do after the form has been submitted. And then the other thing that we can take a look at is how we are going to share it. If we select send form up here in the upper right, you can see that we can share it as a link. We can then copy it and paste it on a document, on a website. We can even, using another third-party service or goo.gl, create a QR code. It's endless, but basically this is the link to this form that you've just looked at. And then we can then embed it if we prefer. Instead of using a link, we can select embed. We can get the embed code. We can then embed this form in a website, on our blog, whatever. Or if we want, we can send the link via Google+, Facebook, Twitter, or send it via email. So a lot of different ways to send this form to different people, to your class, and again, have them fill it out and complete it. And when they do fill it out and complete it, like we said, we've just saw this up here, you can then go ahead and view the responses. And when you do that, it will show up in this spreadsheet like this. Now, again, no one's actually responded, so there's nothing there to report, but you can see here that we've got the timestamp. Do you understand? Describe the level of understanding. Never mind this. This was from a previous test question that I added in there, so we'll just delete that. But there, as you get the results in, they will start to populate here. And like I said, this is an interesting opportunity for if it's just you or maybe it's your students, the class that gets to see all the responses coming in. Again, depending on what you want to do and how you're going to use this form. But there it is. That's a test form, and then you can choose to share this. I would actually say that if you want to preserve the answers here, you might want to just share it, but make sure that you're not sharing it with the editing rights, just view only. Let's go back to that form again. And that's it. That's the forms. And you can see that it is a relatively simple, fast way of getting into Google Drive. And it's a great way to sort of appreciate the benefit of this cloud computing and the benefit of having the students access the form and having the information come back and then us sharing it back. It's a great way to get started. It can happen at the beginning, during, or at the end of a lesson or a unit or a project. So it really is up to you and how you want to see this done. There it is. Google Forms, there are a lot of tutorials out there, so if you're stuck, if I went through too fast, if I skipped something that you wanted to find out more about, there is no shortage of resources out there as well. All the best, good luck.